Hey, welcome to the next video. I thought a lot about what I wanted to do for this next video. I was going to do something else, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on the theme of the last one. I actually talked about how to seal the buildings to the layout so that you don't get light bleeding out from underneath the buildings. It works really well. So I thought I would go into a little bit this time, a little more on how I light my buildings. I know everybody has their own way of doing it, and there are things out there from Woodland Scenics and things that, make it very easy. But just to say, it's very easy without, and much cheaper. So I'm going to show you what I did, and let's get into that, and let's see. I'll show you what I've done. So what I have is a power supply. I have this. At one point I had slack cars that I ran a big layout around here with, and I got rid of it, and this was the power supply for that. It's an adjustable DC power supply, and I can adjust the voltage range from up to, I believe, 16 volts. So I can run all of my lights off this. And what I've done was I ran everything that's not trains off of this power supply, and this powers everything except for my trains. So when I'm running my trains, they're running off DCC shortly. Right now off of DC, but their own power supply. Nothing else runs off of that, including my switch motors. So everything runs off of this. And what I did was I took 14 gauge wire, and I ran it into here, and then off of here, it's a main power bus. I ran it sort of like you would do for your track wiring, and then every so often, over every area. So for instance, in my city scene here, I have a junction block, what would you call it? A terminal block, which looks like this. And all I do is I have that main power line that comes out of the power supply, and everywhere where I have a junction where there's going to be a whole bunch of lights, like in here, each building has its own lighting inside it, and all the lighting goes down through the layout, and I have a small wire that comes off of this terminal block, and it hooks up all the wiring to this whole section. And then that section, which also includes these buildings over here, goes down to a switch. And then I can control these lights from the switch. Okay? See, I can power everything on and off with the switch. And in doing this with the terminal blocks, what it allows is if there's a problem with the wiring, it doesn't affect all the wiring. So within each block runs on its own. I have the main power on the power supply, and then each block is powered separately. So if something at the far end of the layout stops working, it doesn't affect anything at this end of the layout. And it's been working well. I did have a problem with the switch machine earlier where one of the contacts was shorting out, and it shorted out a small section, a small block. So because it's a small block, I was able to easily find my problem. This is very inexpensive to do. It takes a little more time, but I really like doing this better than the others. So the way this goes is once all the wiring is run underneath, so then I have, here's a building right here that I've taken off, and it's just a small light bulb, and you buy these and they have the little sticky tape. I just drill a hole, drop the wire down, and run it into the next light that's in line. So they're all wired in series all the way down through, and if one of these burns out, it's not a big deal. It all works just fine. And then we throw the building on top with the the modeling clay around the building like I showed in the last video, bang down, and see, I have no light bleed from under the buildings, and all of these buildings have that, and there's nothing coming out from underneath them. So my downtown city scene, I think this is the buildings, maybe this would be a better example. We'll work on the interiors in this set of buildings right here. As you can see, the one building, you can see the bulb inside the building. It's just a big empty building. We'll work on that in the next video, and we'll take care of that, and let's learn how to do that. So until next video, we'll talk to you later, and I hope I was able to help you with maybe possibly showing you how lighting gets done. So hopefully you tune in for the video. Visit my website at mikestrains.wordpress.com. You can find me on YouTube for Mike's Trains. So until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.